Chelsea 3, Crystal Palace 1. Alvaro Morata scores 2, almost gets a hat-trick late on. Pedro gets the third goal while Townsend scored the temporary equaliser for the visitors. Chelsea do extend the unbeaten start to the season to 11 league games, 16 overall, but Palace definitely didn't make it easy as it proved to be the difficult game I expected. To find out everything about the game as it happened, make sure you watch all of this review. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea from a review of the Chelsea 3 Crystal Palace 1 game. And I am well happy with that. Like, it wasn't a perfect performance, but it was a good performance and it was 3 points from a very difficult game, and it turned out to be a difficult game as well. So I'm very happy with that. But now, of course, this is the review. There will be fan cams, there will be a vlog, there will be all sorts of content coming out surrounding the game. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also, let's see whether we can hit 500 or more likes on this video. That would be massively appreciated. So make sure you smash that like button down below. That'd be absolutely class. But now getting into the review and starting it off with the lineup, which was pretty much exactly what I predicted yesterday, except that Eden Hazard started on the bench rather than, well, in the starting 11. So it was obviously the 4-3-3 with Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, a back four of Cesar Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso as the fullbacks, then Antonio Rudiger and David Luiz as the two centre-backs, a midfield three of Jorginho and N'Golo Kanté and Ross Barkley, and then a front three of, as Hazard obviously wasn't there, Willian on the left, Pedro on the right, although they did swap quite a lot, and Alvaro Morata starting up front with Olivier Giroud still being out and not making the bench. And getting into the game, the first kind of 20-25 minutes, they weren't exactly great. Like, basically nothing happened at all, chances-wise, on either side, to be honest. I mean, we had the ball and controlled the game for the most part, but we did struggle to find spaces between the lines, and, you know, the two lines of four that Palace played, you know, in and around their box, and therefore mostly just passed the ball around between our defensive midfield and not really doing much. But, you know, even that, our pass accuracy generally wasn't that great in the early parts of the game. A fair few more misplaced passes than we usually see. I mean, Palace did have 1 or 2 half chances, but nothing really, if I'm going to be completely honest. The 10 minutes after that, you know, from 20 minutes to 30 minutes or so, you know, we find it did start to do a little bit more and kind of create chances, some half chances at least, as we did start to put in some decent crosses into the box, but usually narrowly missing Morata or others in the box, almost moments as I like to call them. But then basically right on the half an hour mark, in the 32nd minute, Alvaro Morata broke the deadlock and made it 1-0. Azpilicueta high up the pitch, playing a short pass to Pedro just inside the box, who tried to cross it to Morata basically straight away, but that cross was intercepted and headed away by the Crystal Palace defender, but only as far as right back to Pedro, so really not very far, who, while kind of falling over or kind of while getting up, I'm not sure which one it was, crossed it straight back to Morata. This time found him a very good first touch by Morata, and then a solid finish past the keeper on the volley and on the, you know, half spin as well. Very decent, you know, goal that basically, and just, you know, great to break the deadlock because it did prove tricky in that first half an hour. Only 5 minutes after that, Willian actually put the ball into the net, but he was ruled offside. It was very, very tight, and even after seeing multiple replays, I wasn't sure. I mean, I heard that, you know, on English TV, they said it probably wasn't offside and just about was onside, you know, same height basically. But, you know, it was so tight that, you know, even if he was onside, to be honest, I don't think you can really criticise the linesman for it. Although, another replay, you know, a few minutes later actually showed that there was a small deflection on, you know, Pedro's pass to Willian. But in my opinion, there wasn't enough, you know, of a deflection to make it a new situation of play. So maybe it was wrong, maybe it was right. Obviously, it didn't turn out to matter in the end. But, you know, very difficult decision for the linesman. There were a few more almost moments before half-time, but no real chances. So then we went into the break at 1-0. And, you know, it wasn't a great first half. Palace made it exactly as difficult as I told you they would do. But not really doing much going forward themselves, except when Zaha basically tried to go past everyone by himself. But being, you know, they were solid defensively and made it very difficult for us to create actual real chances. But we did take the lead, controlled the game, dominated the game with loads of possession, and, you know, we're in the driving seat at half-time. But, you know, I still wasn't happy with some of our passing a lot of the time in that first half. And getting into the second half, that didn't start great at all, because the first mentionable thing that happened was Andros Townsend making it 1-1 for Crystal Palace in the 53rd minute. I mean, the ball basically bounced away from Morata inside Palace's half. Then they basically played like a 1-2 or maybe it was 3 passes. And then Townsend was through on goal. David Luiz didn't look exactly great there, not keeping his line and moving inside and basically leaving the gap for Townsend and the pass. But that isn't the full story. Like, people that only criticize Luiz for that need to watch a replay again, because Luiz certainly could have done better, but the midfield not reacting, you know, to us losing possession correctly was basically the reason why David Luiz even, you know, came up with the idea of moving inside and then obviously ended up leaving that space for Townsend. But, you know, I mean, it was obviously annoying at the time, and it also brought Palace into the game a lot more, looking a lot more threatening. Even if it was only in a counter-attack, they did look a lot more threatening, not actually creating any big chances, but they did look a lot more threatening than they did throughout the whole of the first half. I mean, they did finally start to push more men forward to help Zaha out, who in the first half, you know, was kind of left by himself usually up front. So, they did kind of trouble us and we had our difficulties with it. Thankfully, we started to figure it out with around an hour played when David Luiz had a huge chance with a header following a very good Willian free kick, and Luiz found himself with acres of space well inside the box, completely unmarked, but then put his header too close to the keeper, who still had to make it a very good save actually to keep it out. But I still think Luiz could have done slightly better, although these headers, especially when connecting with a free kick that is hit with quite a lot of pace, are very, very difficult to direct, and I think people generally are a bit too harsh on people, that don't do well enough on these kind of headers. Right after that chance, then Eden Hazard and Kovacic came on for both Willian and Ross Barkley. And, that completely changed the game. With his first action of the game, Hazard won a free kick maybe 30 yards from goal, quite a bit out wide as well. He took that free kick himself. Actually not a great delivery, to be quite honest, but Palace defended it very poorly. The ball bounced right in the middle of the box, bounced over basically the players, at the far post, except Morata, who it fell to, wide of the 6-yard box. He controlled it very well again, and then hit it with his weaker left foot and just smashed it, in from a tight angle and just past the keeper into the far side netting and made it 2-1 in the 65th minute. Great finish by Morata and getting his second goal of the night, so perfect. And only another 5 minutes after that, we got another goal to make it 3-1 and basically kill the game off. This time, it was the other two outfield Spaniards working together as Marcos Alonso put in a very good low cross from their left, and then Pedro came in storming into the box from deep and finished it first time perfectly into their bottom right corner. Classy finish, absolutely classy finish. And that period of the game really showed the Eden Hazard effect, like in full flow. Full flow. Comes on in the 64th minute, and within like 5 minutes, he gets an assist and we score 2 goals. What a player Eden Hazard is. And those 2 goals in quick succession also took the sting completely out of Crystal Palace, which kind of saw us finding it quite easy and quite comfortable to see the game out. Fabregas then came on in the last 10 minutes or for the last 10 minutes and replaced obviously Jorginho, but that didn't really change much actually. Mostly we just saw the game out, like I said already before. Morata had a big chance, almost had a big chance, let's say, to get his hat-trick. He got his even bigger chance a little bit later on, but he almost had one already, a little bit earlier, just before the 90 minutes were gone. But, the defender just about got a touch on the pass before it could reach the Spaniard inside the box. But then in the last minute of injury time, he had this huge chance Morata did on the counter-attack from a Crystal Palace corner. Morata, after Hazard played him in, was one-on-one with the keeper and went for the chip. But the keeper read it and didn't go to ground and just about got his hands, on the Spaniard's effort. And Hennessy is a very large keeper as well, so, maybe he's not the best keeper to try chip against, but he was far enough out to try it. He just, I think, made it a little bit too obvious that he was going for the chip. I mean, for his own confidence, he maybe shouldn't have gone for the spectacular, as you might say. Like I said, especially because he made it a little bit obvious. But at 3-1 up in the last minute and with 2 goals to his name already, it quite frankly doesn't really matter. And that was then full time at 3-1. A good performance, not a great performance, but 3 points, another 3 points, and now actually moving ahead of Liverpool into second on goal difference. We obviously got a draw at Arsenal yesterday. And we also do keep an unbeaten start to the season going, as Maurizio Sarri is now joint top as the manager with the longest undefeated start to the season for a manager in his debut season, which is obviously quite a stat. And I think not a single one of us expected a start, to the season like we are having. It's absolutely mental, quite frankly. I mean, overall, though, as much as I say it wasn't a great performance and only a good performance, we completely dominated the game, had, 74% of the ball, a 90% pass completion rate, and, we also had way more shots than Palace did. But early on, we did struggle to break through, their defensive lineup, basically, and at the start of the second half, we had a little bit of a shaky period when Palace obviously did score and equalised, and obviously for maybe a 10 minutes period or so after that as well, it was a little bit shaky, and they did try and go for it a little bit more, but with our 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes, we basically killed the game off and saw it out. And, obviously I have to mention a few players today, especially Alvaro Morata, who I thought was very good today. He was very good today, not just because of the 2 goals he scored, which were obviously great, 2 great touches, first touches on both of them, and then 2 very good finishes. But overall, he played very well today. Good passing, good movement, good understanding with his teammates as well. And that's exactly the Alvaro Morata that we all want to see. And let's hope that he can continue this kind of form, because when we have him like that, we actually have a potent striker up front. We can actually do a lot. We can actually do a lot because we are a very good team. And by the way, Morata now has more goals than Lukaku in all competitions, has the same as Roberto Firmino, and has just 1 less than Mane and Salah. So, I know he isn't always great and he hasn't started great this season, but at this moment in time, he's in there with them lot. He's certainly up there with them lot. So maybe some of the criticism is a bit harsh, not by myself. I don't think I'm very critical of Alvaro Morata. Maybe not enough sometimes. But I think some people shouldn't be as critical as they are. But also praise has to go to Pedro, who I thought was also very good today. As he always does, he has these moments where he just doesn't pass the ball. He just doesn't, get rid of it quick enough. Sometimes he just runs with it for like ages. As someone said on Twitter, he basically runs to Big Ben and then back into Stamford Bridge and still keeps it basically. But his work rate overall was incredible. His movement was top notch as well. And obviously he got a goal and an assist as well. So, very good performance by him. And also Antonio Rudiger, I thought was absolutely class. Everyone else was somewhere between decent and good. Even though I have to say Ross Barkley, before he came off, had a few too many misplaced passes for my liking. Although, he had so many good performances in a row now. I think it's fine when he, for once, maybe doesn't play as well. But yeah, that's really it for me. Leave me all of your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. Who was your man of the match? I think I'd have to give it to Alvaro Morata, although Pedro I thought was very good as well. But, I think he clearly deserves it today. Very good goal. The first time that he scored more than one goal in a game for Chelsea since his hat-trick at Stoke, and almost got another hat-trick today. Maybe it's actually good that he didn't get one, so he can actually score braces here and there as well, not just hat-tricks, once a year basically. That would be good. But yeah, like I said, all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Like I said in the beginning already, let's see whether we can hit 500 likes on this video, so make sure you smash that like button down below. That would be massively appreciated. Also, don't forget to check out my social media, which is Laos5007 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here, and also the links to both of them will be down in the description below. And of course, this is YouTube, so if you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of the future videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.